students, welcome back for lesson one. We are going to write equations using symbols. These are linear equations, we'll call them a lot, but technically they're not quite linear equations. They're equations with a variable of a power of 1 or less. So let's take a look. We're going to write mathematical statements using symbols to represent numbers. We're going to know that written statements can be written as more than one correct way. And you will be able to articulate in your own words how to write expressions and equations. So let's take a look at a first one. The number 1,157 is the sum of squares of two consecutive odd integers divided by the difference between two consecutive odd integers. That's a lot of stuff. So if we are going to write this in a mathematical sentence, we're really going to have to break it down. So let's start the easy part. 1,157 is the sum. So the sum means we're going to add the squares of two consecutive odd integers. All right, so squares means I have power of 2. What is two consecutive odd integers? So if I have a number x, I don't know what the number is, so I'm going to call it x. And then the next odd integer, so if x is odd, I have to choose it to be odd. A consecutive would be the next odd. So let's say it's 3. How do I always get to 5? Well, I add 2, because that's the next odd one. I skip the even one, go to the odd one. So if I pick 3, the next one would be plus 2, that would be 5. If I pick 57, the next odd one would be 59. I'm adding 2 again. So if I want to know any two consecutive odd integers, I can say, well, the first one is going to be x, and then the second one is going to be x plus 2, and that'll be two odd integers. And then I'm going to square them, right? So x squared plus x plus 2 squared, and then the sum of them. So I'm going to add them together. So x squared plus x plus 2 squared. That's what I'm doing there. I'm dividing by the difference between the two consecutive odd integers. So I've got my x plus 2 and my x, and I'm going to find the difference. So I'm going to subtract them, and I'm going to subtract the big one from the little one. So x plus 2 minus x. And all of that is going to equal the number 1,157. So here we go. Let x be the number. Odd integers are x and x plus 2. So here's my thing. 1,157 is x squared plus x plus 2 squared divided by x plus 2 minus x. So there we go. That's how we write it. I know this one was complicated and I walked you through it. You're going to get to do some of your own. We'll start with easier ones. All right. So we're going to do word problems to define your variables and state clearly what each symbol represents. And then you're going to write mathematical statements that can be represented as more your mathematical statements. You could have a different one than me, and they could be the same, still be right. And we're going to break complicated problems into smaller parts and try working with simpler numbers. So let's try this. You try it. Pause the video. Write this one. A whole, not write the words. Write what it would be in a number sentence. Okay, I'm pausing. The whole number has a property that when half a number is added to 15, we get the number itself. So a whole number, we don't know what it is, so that's x. So when I have half of x added to 15, so how do we get half of x? I can divide by 2 or I can multiply by 1/2. And then I'm going to add 15, and the answer will be x. So half the number, make x the number, multiply by 1/2, add 15, you get the number. Half times x plus 15 equals x. Did you get that? Or something close to that? Try this one. Pause the video for a second. Try this one real quick. All right, your pause, coming back. A whole number has a property that when the square of half the number is subtracted from 5 times the number, we get the number itself. So a whole number x, when we square of half the number. So x divided by 2 is half the number, and then we square that, so to the power of 2, and we subtract it from 5 times the number, subtract it from. So I'm going to take 5 times the number, and I'm going to minus this x divided by 2 squared, and then I get the number itself. So it's going to equal the number. So square of half the number is x divided by 2 squared, or I could say 1/2 x and then the whole thing squared. Subtract from 5 and I get the number, so there we go. Subtract from 5x, x divided by 2 squared, and the answer is the number itself. All right, you try this one. This one's actually a little bit easier. Pause the video. Welcome back. So Paulo has a certain amount of money. If he spends $6, then he has a quarter of the original left. So he has money. We're going to call it x because I don't know what it is. Spends 6, so that's minus 6. And then he has 1/4 of the original amount. So it equals 1/4 of the original amount. So x is the amount, spend 6, quarter of the original amount, and that would be x minus 6. X is the money, spend 6, equals 1/4 of the amount. All right, try this one. Pause the video, read it, do it. Welcome back. When a number is taken away from 57, what remains is 4 more than 5 times the number. So when a number is taken away from 57, so 57 minus the number, what remains is, so that's my equals, 4 more than 5 times the number. So I'm going to do 5 times the number, and I'm going to add 4 to it. So x is our number. Take x from 57, and that equals 5x plus 4. 57 minus x equals 5x plus 4. So if you feel like you're doing a lot of translating, that's exactly what you're doing. So if you speak 2 languages or more, you should be really good at this. Take a look and read it. Translate it to math. I'll wait. Welcome back. We want to express the following statement using symbolic language. The sum of 3 consecutive integers is 372. So this first part is just nothing. The sum of 3 consecutive integers is 372. So x plus y plus z equals 372, and they're all right in a row. Well, how do I make sure y is 1 more than x is the next one after x? I add 1. How do I know that z is the next one? Well, I added 1, and then I add 1 again. So it's going to start with x, and then the x plus 1 is the next one, and then x plus 2 is the next one after that. So the sum means to add consecutive integers. I have an x plus 1, and an x plus 2, and it equals, it is 372. So I have my x plus 1, my x plus 2. The only reason I have parentheses is so that you know these are my 3 different numbers, but the parentheses are just there for fun, so I can just rearrange things and add them in any order I want, thanks to the commutative power. So x plus x plus x is 3x's, 1 plus 2 is 3, so 3x plus 3 equals 372. A whole number has a property that when the square of half the number is subtracted from 5 times the number, we get the number. So pause and try it. All right, so square of half the number is x divided by 2 squared. Subtract from 5, we get the number. This was the first one. I gotta take that slide out. Yep, that's the first one. All right, so these you're gonna do on your own. They will be the questions in the Go formative. Pause them, take a look at them if you want right now. Lesson summary. So we begin all problems by defining a variable. Then we write our statements. There can be more than one right way of doing it. If it's complicated, we break it down into little parts and do each part. Okay? Use your translation skills. Take the words on the paper and create expressions and equations. Okay? So we have learned how to write mathematical statements using symbols that represent numbers. And we know that written statements can be written in more than one correct way. And you should be able to do it in your own terms, how to write expressions. So that's what I want you to do. If you have it done before class, you don't have to do homework. You get 100%. Write down and turn in how to write expressions and equations in your own work. Okay?